Hey guys, so today I want to talk to you about Reptizorb liners. And probably not many people have heard of these, but they're actually the liners that go in your tubs for your snakes for different enclosures and different rack systems. But first, there's a few questions from my viewers that I wanted to cover. So if you write a question under one of my video or a comment, it goes straight to my email and I get it instantly. And I may not get back to you on the forum, but I see them all. And one of the questions was, has the dog had the puppies yet? And here she is. And we are going to take a look, huh? Have you had puppies yet? Alright, let's, come on. Oh, you got to let me in first. You got to let me in. Alright, come on. She's so excited. So excited. Alright, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, alright. Let's see what we have. Oh my goodness. She's been tearing up the place. Ooh. Let's see. Woo. No puppies, no puppies. Yeah, she tore all the stuffing out of her little bed. We might have to get rid of that bed. And I also noticed, remember when I put these vents in this system? She ate one of the vents. So I think we're going to have to upgrade this to maybe something metal. And I also saw on one of the doggy forums that you really have to watch out if you have blankets in here, that the babies can actually get trapped under the blankets. So I don't know if too many blankets are a good idea, but I kind of like a few blankets. I don't know. I'll just have to keep an eye on her, but she's tearing this place up. One thing I really like is since I screwed this carpet down, that it's not coming up. So I'm almost tempted just to pull everything out of here, maybe except one small blanket until she has her puppies. Because, yeah, it's kind of trashy now. So another question I had is, how many eggs do you have in your incubator? Well, this is my incubator here, and it is definitely filling up. So I've actually lost about 10% due to mold that I've been tossing them out. And some of my early clutches I think were worse than my later clutches. I kind of went to this vermiculite with the press and seal, and I kind of went away from the perlite with the sealing grate and the paper towels. And I'm actually thinking of switching them all over to the vermiculite and the press and seal. But right now, I believe I have 58 good eggs plus some babies. And I actually had some babies hatch this week. And the other thing is, with this press and seal, I noticed there's not hardly any condensation building up in my incubator. And that's the other thing with it, with the humidity coming down a little bit. It's like 79 versus it was 88. And then once I switched over to this, I think this traps in the humidity, so it's not in the incubator. So I think I'm definitely going to have to switch these over just because the general humidity in here is falling. And let me see if I can yeah, I'll pull out one of these. I'll give you a sneak peek. I'm eventually going to go to a video where I show you each individual snake, but that's kind of I'll give you a sneak peek there. That's some of the babies that hatch. So the 58 includes some of the hatchlings that aren't yet a week old, and I'll let them sit in there a week, and then I'll put them in my baby rack once they reach a week. So another viewer actually had a suggestion, and so I recently went to like a paper-based substrate, if you caught my previous videos, and I came up with the idea of putting this sphagnum moss in these little balls. And one viewer had the suggestion of putting this in a nylon, kind of like a pantyhose, and then you wouldn't get all this sphagnum moss fragments coming out. I thought that was a great idea. The only thing, I'm not sure how expensive they are. These If they get in the area where the snake pees, I just throw them out. And these are so cheap, you know, it doesn't really cost me much just to toss it. So I don't know if I can get for these little wires. I got them on eBay. For this fine net. I think it was like $100 for $10. So I don't know what the cost difference would be, but I think that would be a great idea just to kind of try it out. It almost would be nice if you could suspend it somehow. I don't quite know how you could do it, but if you had some kind of a little holder to keep it up that the snake couldn't knock over, so then if they went to the bathroom it wouldn't mess it up and it would last longer. That might be another option. But the first time I actually started with these liners, the snakes shed really bad. So actually it was this Coral Glow here that had a really bad shed for the first time, and I went away from coconut husk and I switched over to these, and she shed, and it was just on the very bottom of her belly that shed off, and her whole top was stuck on really, really bad. And then like the first day, I didn't start with these balls, and I just had some sphagnum moss and I threw it in there, and within one day he completely shed out. This is a male Coral Glow. And I was so impressed with the sphagnum moss that I decided to try it in these balls just to contain it a little bit better, and it's been working great. So let's talk about Reptizorb liners. So these are Reptizorb liners. And I actually got enough to do my whole collection, and I got a little bit extra. And basically what they do is they cut them on demand, and it's kind of like it's almost like a really thin cloth it looks like it's like ironed and starched. So I guess it's the closest thing I can think of. And basically they put it on their machines and they cut them to different sizes. So these are for my 50-40 tubs, and these are for my these are my 70-30. The big ones are for my 70-30. These are my 50-40s. This is for my hatchling. And they actually sent me a little black one. It actually comes in black, which I thought was interesting. And they sent me these little demos. These are for actually the ARS display racks for when you sell snakes at shows. They actually have them for that, which I thought was pretty cool. And then let's see, these I had a bigger one cut for my ARS 8018 tubs, and then I had a super massive big one, and these are for my my boa tubs. And actually, you'll see in here, I actually have one in here. And for these tubs, they actually didn't make them, and they didn't have them in stock for this size, so I just gave them the dimensions. And they actually cut them for me, which is really nice. And I had them cut just a little bit longer so they come up on the sides. And then for my hatchling tubs, so what I've been doing is I actually started putting paper towels on top of them. Because what I found is when the snake makes a mess, it messes up the liner. But if you put paper towels on top of them, what you can do is you can pick up the big stuff, and then you just have the bottom that's just a little bit discolored, but it's not real stained. And I'll actually show you what I do with those. So I actually figured out that Reptizorb is just a little bit too expensive on a long-term basis, unless you can recycle them. And check this out. So I actually took these and I ran them through the wash machine, which is pretty cool. And some of them come out a little bit wrinkled, and some of them they shrink up a little bit, but they still work really well. And the way I do it is I've been putting them in the wash machine for just with no bleach or anything, and then after that, after a wash cycle and the gentle cycle, I'll actually soak them in bleach overnight, strong bleach solution, and then I'll put them back in the washer and add some bleach, and then put them back on delicate, and then dry them on delicate. And it's been working really well. So I burned through all my really good ones, and I'm just kind of working through these used ones now. So I also found that for these tubs, there's like a new tub and an old tub on the ARS racks. And for example, this one fits with a little bit of play in here. And then the first ones they sent me were really tight up against the cup holder, and I had to actually push them down with my thumbnail, and they sit in there really tight. But the thing I like about it is if you look at this Coral Glow, you know, normally if you use paper towels, they get all bunched up. And with these Reptizorb liners, they really stay in place, and they really give really good coverage on the whole tub. I haven't actually looked through these. But sometimes the paper towels will stay in place. Sometimes they get bunched up. But I really like that they go all the way around the cup holder. And like this one, the snake's sitting, you know, if you use paper towels, not necessarily, sometimes it bunches up and the snake's not directly on the bottom of the tub, not directly on the heat. So it could throw your heating off a little bit if you get like a paper that's bunched up. And I really, you know, I've been looking for the perfect substrate for a long time, and I think this is probably close to the best that you can get. You know, I used coconut husk for a while, and I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I switched from newspaper, and then I went to Aspen, and I used paper towels, and then I went back to Reptichip, and I used Reptichip. And then I switched to Pro Coco, the coconut husk chip. And I thought those were great, but the only problem is I had a lot of snakes getting substrate in their mouth. And then the other thing I found is on the coconut husk, what would happen is the snake would sit up on the coconut husk over here, and they would be away from the heat. So in order to fix that, basically you had to move all the coconut away from the heat in the back. And then they'd be just sitting on the bare tub, and all the coconut would be up here. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a substrate, because they're just sitting on bare plastic. And then they pee, and then they sit in the pee. So, but the good thing about the coconut husk is that it absorbs smells. So in here, you know, I went through all these racks today, all these and these. And today I only had one that peed in all these, so it wasn't too bad. But sometimes if I get 4 or 5, especially these big retics, if they pee in here, oh, I can smell it as soon as I walk in. And so now on these guys, the thing I really like about this Reptizorb is, see, she actually peed. I can smell it. And you can actually see it in here a little bit. And yeah, so basically with the Reptizorb, I'm always chasing dirty tubs, it seems like, where on the Pro Coco I wasn't really chasing them, and I couldn't smell it. On the plus side, so there's pluses and minuses for every substrate. On the plus side, I'm always moving this girl. It seems like she pees 2 or 3 times a week now, where I didn't even notice it before. But, you know, now I'm keeping the tubs really clean. And every now and then she'd get a little bit of coconut husk stuck in her lip. And I think the last time she had an infection around her mouth, I think it was from that coconut husk. And she had a little in her lip, and then kind of went after a rat and hit her head on the side of the tub with that coconut in there. And I think that's what did some damage and gave her the infection. But, you know, with this, it seems like I'm chasing dirty tubs more, but I'm definitely, I feel like I have cleaner snakes, and I keep them more sanitary, and I think it's safer because it keeps substrate out of their mouth. Alright, so I want to move this girl up, because I know you want to watch me move her. And we'll see how this goes. She looks like she's doing pretty good. She's pretty happy, and And with this Reptizorb I move her a lot more, and it almost seems like it's a better chance to handle her. So I don't know, kind of pros and cons both ways. Ooh. She's actually really good today. If I can keep her in the tub. Come on, girl, where are you going? Ooh. Oh, she doesn't want to go now. In. There you go, buddy. Then I usually let her calm down a little bit before I throw in the water bowl. But basically, the change is really easy. I just pull this out, and then I put it in a bucket until I do laundry. So I just kind of hang on to it. And then basically for the cleanup, I just take a little bleach water and I spray it in there, and then wipe it down and let it dry. And that's pretty much it. Then I put the new liner in. So I just sprayed it down with bleach, then I wiped it out, and here's the new liner. They just slide right in, basically. And the thing I like about it is it's easy. There's no mixing, no adding water, no breaking it apart. I mean, how easy is that? You know, you can't get much easier than that. And I don't know. I keep going back and forth between, is this better than Reptizorb or not? And I guess it really just depends on the person. And I really like these non-stick dog bowls on here too. They really have a good firm grip on the Reptizorb, and they don't slide around, so she really can't spill that water, which is another thing I really like. And I actually just got her moss ball wet the other day, and it's still doing really well. So for this bigger tub with Sunny, he's my male super dwarf reticulated python, and I think one of the problems with this tub, he keeps like turning it over and flipping it up. And the problem is I didn't order the Reptizorb that was the size of the whole tub. So I was using two of the smaller ones from down there, kind of back to back, and I think he's able to actually get between the two layers, and that's why he's kind of messing it up. So I think I need to order another size and get one that fits the whole tub. The other thing that I really like about this is that it's amazing, because when I put coconut husk chips in here, it filled half the tub. And now that I went to this Reptizorb and the paper towels, it's it's amazing. It's like I have all this area in the tub free, and my tubs I feel like it's twice as big, and I have more room in there. And I don't know, it's just a lot different than I've been going for a while. And I don't know, I think it's better for the snake. And the other thing is I've seen some snakes. So when I had Reptizorb, I think this girl was doing it a lot. Maybe it was this one over here. But I noticed they tend to flatten out their bellies a lot more, and kind of, I don't know if you can see that, but it's kind of they kind of go towards the heat and flatten out their belly more than what they did on the Reptizorb. And I think it gives them more access to the heat. I don't know. Honestly, I think my snakes are happier on this, just like a paper substrate. And it's really like paper. And I know a lot of the big breeders go to like a newspaper type of substrate, and that's fine, I think, too. But it'd almost be nice if you could find like an unprinted newspaper that was cut to size and really, really cheap. Well, I haven't found it yet, so I mean, this is the closest thing I found to something like that. It's a little more expensive, but it's reusable. So I'm really enjoying it, and I don't know if I'll ever go back to Reptizorb or Pro Coco or a coconut husk substrate, and I'm still looking for the perfect substrate. So that's my review of Reptizorb. What can you say? I think we're all still kind of looking for the perfect substrate, and I think this is probably as close as you can get. So thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions or ideas, I'd be happy to hear them, and I will see you next time.